Let me paint a picture that is probably going to sound a little too familiar. It is 2 in the morning. Your body is completely exhausted, but your brain is wide awake with 50 tabs open. You are lying in the dark, agonizing over how to ask a close friend to pay you back. You want to speak up, but your brain keeps spinning. What if they think I am selfish? What if this ruins the friendship? Or maybe you have been staring at a resignation email to your boss for 3 entire weeks. You know you need to quit, but the anxiety of actually hitting send is completely paralyzing you. Or maybe you are beating yourself up over a tiny, stupid mistake. You recently got tricked and lost a very small amount of money. You do not even care about the cash, but you are lying there feeling incredibly gullible and useless, torturing yourself with the thought, how could I be so stupid? Your chest feels tight and you just want the noise to stop. You are completely trapped inside your own head. But here's what usually happens when you tell someone you are struggling. They look at you and give you the most useless piece of advice in human history. Just relax, stop overthinking it. Telling an overthinker to stop thinking is like telling someone who is drowning to just breathe underwater. It's toxic, it's frustrating, and it completely ignores how your brain actually works. Overthinking is not a personality flaw. It doesn't mean you're crazy, and it doesn't mean you're broken. It's a biological defense mechanism. When you overthink, your brain is frantically trying to control a situation that is fundamentally out of your control. You cannot fix it with willpower. In this video, I'm going to show you how to physically hijack that biological system, cut the fuel to your anxiety, and finally get some peace and quiet. So, how do we actually stop the mental spinning? Method number 1 is about cutting off the fuel supply. Your brain does not just overthink out of nowhere. It needs raw material to build those massive, terrifying scenarios in your head. And usually, you're the one feeding it. Think about it like this. Imagine you're sitting next to a burning pile of garbage, and the smoke is blowing right into your face. You wouldn't just put on a paper mask. You wouldn't spray some air freshener and force yourself to think positive thoughts while you can barely breathe. That makes zero sense. You really only have 2 choices. You either put out the fire or you get up and walk away. But for some reason, when it comes to our mental health, we just sit right in the middle of the toxic smoke and wonder why we are suffocating. Science actually backs this up. Studies show that consuming just 3 minutes of negative news or online drama in the morning can leave you feeling anxious and unhappy for the next 6 to 8 hours. Just 3 minutes. You are literally injecting toxic smoke into your brain's baseline before your day even starts. Overthinking feeds on ambiguity and negativity. If you want it to stop, you have to physically starve the fire. If you are spiraling because someone left you on red for 2 hours, stop hunting for vague clues on their social media. You are just breathing in more smoke. Instead, ask them a direct question to get a clear answer, or put your phone in another room. Walk away from the fire. If your workplace is a source of constant anxiety, you cannot just tell yourself to not worry about it while checking your work emails at 9 p.m. You have to set a hard physical boundary. Turn off the notifications, mute the toxic group chats. You have to physically step out of the pollution before your mind can actually clear up. But let's be real. Even if you walk away from the smoke, sometimes your brain is already caught in a massive spiral. When you are in the middle of a panic loop, you cannot use logic to escape. You cannot outthink overthinking. If you try to argue with your own brain, it will just create 10 new fake scenarios to worry about. You have to pull a physical emergency brake. First, you need to name the ghost. Say it out loud. I am aware that I am stressing out over that stupid email. Just stating the fact takes away half of its power. Then we use a grounding trick called the 5-4-3-2-1 method. You are going to force your brain to process physical data. Look around the room and name 5 things you can actually see. Your coffee mug, a pen, a shadow on the wall. Next, physically touch 4 things. Feel the rough texture of your shirt or the cold wood of your desk. Actually pay attention to how it feels under your fingers. Then, listen closely for 3 sounds: a fan running in the background or cars driving by outside. Finally, find 2 things you can smell and 1 thing you can taste. Take a sip of water or focus on the mint from your toothpaste. Why does this work so well? Because your brain is actually terrible at multitasking. When you force it to aggressively process physical inputs from your 5 senses, it literally cannot dedicate energy to the fake movie playing in your head. You're yanking your mind out of the past, pulling it away from the future, and forcing it to land safely in the present moment. There's one more crucial layer to this. Let me ask you a question. When you're sitting there overanalyzing a text message, agonizing over the fact that someone hasn't replied in 2 hours, what else are you actually doing? Usually the answer is nothing. You are just waiting. This is the trap of an empty emotional schedule. We overthink when we make other people or our jobs the absolute center of our universe. If your boss is in a bad mood, your entire day is ruined. If your friend doesn't text back, you start feeling completely worthless. You are essentially putting all your emotional investments into one single stock, and when it crashes, you lose everything. To cure chronic overthinking, you have to build an independent joy portfolio. You need a treasury of things that bring you happiness, that require absolutely nobody else's permission. It does not have to be an expensive hobby. It could be taking 10 minutes to make a pour-over coffee in the morning and actually enjoying the smell of it. It could be riding a bike, going to a park with a camera, or just going for a walk by yourself without checking your phone. When you have your own private sources of joy, your life gets its own gravity. You stop obsessing over other people's behavior. You become emotionally self-sufficient, and that is the ultimate cure for overthinking. Now, here's the trap most of us fall into. You try these tricks tonight, and maybe it works for 10 minutes, but then your brain starts overthinking again. And immediately you beat yourself up. You tell yourself, "See, I'm just broken. Nothing works for me." I need you to stop doing that. You are expecting to go from 100% panicked to 100% Zen monk overnight. That is a massive setup for failure. Instead, I want you to adopt the 3% mindset. If you try this and your anxiety goes down by just 3% today, you won. That is a victory. Tomorrow, you practice again and get another 3%. It compounds over time. You are building a muscle, not flipping a magic switch. So here's your ridiculously small action plan for right now. I want you to do 2 tiny physical things to starve the fire. First, pick up your phone. Find that one app, that one toxic group chat, or that one person whose name always makes your stomach drop. Swipe left, hit mute, turn off their notifications until tomorrow morning. Second, go do one tiny thing for your own joy portfolio. Make a cup of tea, listen to a song you love, or just step outside for 3 minutes. You do not have to confront anyone. You do not have to solve the massive problem right now. You just have to turn off the smoke machine and take your power back for the night. Before you go to sleep tonight, I want you to remember one very important thing. Please stop being so mad at your own brain. It does not hate you. It is not trying to ruin your life or keep you awake on purpose. It is just terrified, exhausted, and stuck in a high-alert survival mode because of all the toxic smoke it has been breathing in. Your mind is just doing its job. It is trying to protect you from danger. But you have to be the adult in the room who gently reminds it that the danger isn't real, at least not right now. You cannot solve your career crisis, fix your bank account, or repair a complicated relationship in the middle of the night. There is absolutely nothing to fix at 2 a.m. Take a deep breath, look around your room, tell yourself, I am safe right now. I am done for today. Protect the diet of your mind. Mute the noise. Be incredibly kind to yourself this week, and I will see you in the next one.